Is it my turn?
I'll kick it off, Swetha, and I'll hand it over to you. All right.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining the APAC community call today. Today we'll have so originally the agenda was the European and APAC Symposium recap, but we have Swetha from the India chapter. She leads the India chapter, and she will give us a brief update on the mid-year progress of India. So, unfortunately, India wasn't able to present at our last community call when we had the mid-year updates from the other regions. So we will allocate a bit of our time today to hear about all the exciting stuff happening in India. So, followed by Chungsoo giving a recap of the European Symposium, as well as Nicole and Sujeong also giving their reflections on the APAC Symposium. But before we go into that, I have some Odyssey news related to the Global Symposium that I would like to share with you guys so that we're all up to speed on this. So the APAC Symposium is coming up in a few months. The registrations are now up at Eventbrite. So if you click on this link, it will take you it will take you to this website here, and the fees are 500 US dollars. It's a lot of money and not a lot of money depending on how you look at it. But there is a note down here, guys. I just wanted to emphasize this, right? So this is an open and inclusive event. If the fee serves a issue for you in attending this event, there is a note saying that you can ask for a free ticket at the specific email address. So if you guys feel this is a burden to you, please reach out to the Odyssey Global Symposium's planning committee. I'm pretty sure they can find some alternatives for you. So in this page also, there's also the, if you flip through the pictures here, you can take a look at the actual agenda the tentative agenda that has been set up so far. So it's a over the weekend event. So it'll start on Friday and end on Sunday. A lot of you might be interested in on what's going to happen during the weekend. So if you scroll down a bit down here, there's actually a I would say a white sheet on the events that's going to happen during over the weekend. So there's a lot of sessions, a lot of breakout sessions from each of the working groups. So if you are participating or interested in participating or hearing about the developments and the recent progress of these work groups, I highly suggest you guys take a look at which events are um, up to your interest and which events that you want to participate. So please, guys, the event registration's up. Now is the time for you to register. I put in a slide here to explain the agenda as well as a separate link down there. I hope it's not covered for you guys, but yeah, there's a link down here where you can access the weekend activities as well. So at your own time. So this is on the registration and agenda of the Global Symposium. And if you guys have been in the Odyssey community for some time, Odyssey has Titan Awards. So it's a award that we give out annually at the Odyssey Global Symposium to people that the community thinks have contributed to each of these different award uh, areas, right? So there's one for data standards, there's one for methodological research, open source development, clinical application, collaboration, leadership, and community support. So if you think or if you know some people that you would like to nominate these awards to, you can submit your nominations to this link right here. I'm going to pop it up so that you guys can see it. So if you go to the Global Symposium page, there's the Titan nomination form, the button that will take you right to it. You can vote. It also says that you can vote, you can nominate multiple people. And one important thing that I want to mention is it's not limited to individuals. You can actually nominate teams or institutions that you feel deserve this specific award. So please, guys, if you have anybody that you want to show your appreciation for, now's the time for you to nominate. All nominations are anonymous, but I'm sure people will appreciate receiving the awards regardless, right? So this is on the Titan Awards. It's due September 16th, Korea time. So you do have some time, about a month's time, to put in your nominations. And the next is the Odyssey Got Talent. So this is something new that we're doing this year. I don't know if you guys have different talent shows at each of your countries, but something Got Talent. So I think it started in the UK. Now it's all over the place, all around the world. It's a show. It's a talent show where you can showcase any talent of yours. It doesn't really have to be anything. I've seen some insane, very interesting talents from around the world. If you have such talents, now is your time to apply for this and show it to the Odyssey community. From what I read at the submission form, there will be judges that will be making comments around your talent, and there will be actual awards that happening at the symposium itself as well. So if you are good at folding stuff, if you're good at dancing, if you're good at singing, if you're terrible at singing, but you still think that's a talent, I think now's your time to apply and see how the reaction of the community. I'm pretty sure everybody will have fun, guys. And Chan, I know you play a very special instrument. Maybe that's another one of your opportunities for you to showcase that as well. So I'll leave that up to you on whether you apply or not.
What about beer making? Yeah, please come to the symposium to see that.
So we know Chan is applying for something. I don't know which one he's applying for, but guys, please attend, and we'll all see Chan with his beautiful instrument and his playing of the instrument. So that's all I have. I'm not gonna stop the folks from presenting the slides that they have prepared for today. So I'm gonna hand this over to Swetha now. So she's the lead of our OHDSI India chapter. Swetha, you're gonna steal the screen from me, right?
Yeah, I'm going to share the screen.
Sure. I'll stop sharing.
Yeah. It's loading. Just give me a screen. Is that visible, guys?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So coming to OHDSI India chapter updates, and actually I want to apologize everyone that we are not able to attend the APAC community symposium. So we make sure maybe from next year we will attend it by doing a very good progress in a India chapter as well. So coming to the agenda, we have OHDSI India chapter working groups and our current community calls, schedules and all, and the ongoing project, that is the breast cancer study updates, what we are doing now, and OHDSI India chapter development initiatives that are working on, and the action plan for the next 6 months, and that's all. This is about our agenda. So I'm sorry, I'm not presenting it. Yeah. So coming to the work groups and community calls, like we have OHDSI training and upskilling work groups where we are currently working on, like to frame a regional training infrastructure to support OMAP and OHDSI standards, and many people are interested in that. So we are taking some time to understand the standards from where we have to start, like from the basics, the topics what we have to cover here as considering Indian people. So we are working on that aspect as of now, and upcoming work groups, these data partner work groups are happening regularly, but depending upon any leads that we have, when there is a lead, we will collaborate internally. We will have a call, and we are reaching out to them, and we are talking to them. And in India, we all know it's very tough to get the data partners and to get the data, but still we are working our best to get people inside OHDSI India chapter. And Indian data OMAP feasibility analysis, once the breast cancer data is ready from the data partners, and because they are working on the initial pre-processing phase, once it is done, we will create a working group for that as well, when we will start working on that. And the community calls are happening every a month, second Thursdays, and these are mainly for knowledge sharing sessions. And we are getting to know many people are already working in India in the OHDSI platform, and they're sharing our thoughts. And in our last call, like Ashoka University has presented their OHDSI work in the community call. So this is all about the working groups and the community call information. And coming to the breast cancer study updates, Global Value Web and the JSS AHER Mysore, which is a university, medical university, and Anson together initiated this as a Pathfinder project, which is on breast cancer data. The data with the data partners are from 2014 to 2023, but it is in the format of like PDFs in the data summary, discharge summaries, and at various places. It's not located, and it's not located at one place, and it is not integrated. So various challenges currently we are experiencing, various challenges, that is they are in text format in the discharge summaries, and even the discharge summaries are in different formats. It's not following a single format, and the data is like not integrated and is fragmented a lot, even if it is digitalized, and it is in the text format, and it lacks standard coding system. Only the final discharge and few terms are coded to that is billing terms which are billed by the patient. Those terms are only like coded to the ICD-9 or ICD-10. Remaining terms, it's tough for us. We cannot code, like we have to code each node in Usagi, or we have to try some NLP techniques. So we are working on that as of now. And the solutions, like with Python script, we were successfully able to extract the data from the PDFs what we have. But the problem is, like as I told you, that is in the text format. And the next level is we are working on that, and we from our data engineers from Global Value Web and JSS has also a team who's working for this, and maybe we will come up once we do a very good like progress in this. I'll get my team here, and we will speak about how we are dealing with these problems, these challenges. So this is all about the breast cancer study. And coming to the other development initiatives, as of now, we have a data partner, that is JSS AHER, and they are like the study which is going is like breast cancer. Like we are trying for, even once it is done, we are trying for networking study. We are just looking for the good partner for that even. And then Health Parliament is one more patient-centric company which works for patient development, patient apps. This is all they do in India, and digitalization, like creating digital platforms. This is their company, and we are exploring opportunities for new studies with them. It's in progress. And Ashoka University also, we are looking for a collaboration, and within few days we will start a new study even there. And Bayar, we met Parin, like even in EU Symposium. He's actively working with us. We are trying for more opportunities work there as well. And also LNT, we all know about LNT, and we are exploring technical collaborations there. And MS Ramaya, which is a huge diabetic research institute in India, we are trying for data partnership there. And NHS Lanka Teaching Hospitals from UK has come forward for a diabetic study, for a network study between the population of UK and Indians. So this is where we want to explore even. And GVW is the key OHDSI India initiators. The work we are doing, all this facilitating, doing all the campaignings works and all, we are doing it as of now. And technically we are supporting JSS as well for the conversions. And Anson is in the breast cancer, and we are exploring for a network, other network studies as well with Anson. So this is all about the development initiatives and action plan. We would like to complete the breast cancer data OMAP conversion in the coming 6 months, and we want to initiate the corresponding publication on that and expand and strengthen the active community. As of now, we are working towards it very hardly, and engage at least two additional data partners to this group is our primary aim and goal. So this is all about OHDSI India chapter. We have our LinkedIn, GitHub, and website. Please follow us, like us. So this is all about our progress, and from my end.
Thanks, Swetha, for the presentation of the developments from India. So is there anybody from the audience that have any questions for Swetha? I see Chan is clapping. So yeah.
So
Big
I
round
wonder,
of applause.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
go ahead,
Thank
Chan,
you.
please.
so I wonder that, so I do not understand the current status of the Indian data completely, but so your data is does your data have the format, structured format for the diagnosis or the medication, or does your data only have the summary, discharge summary, or the medical text rather than any structured format for diagnosis or medication exposure or prescription?
So, Chan, you're asking like whether we have structured data format as of
Right,
now for medications, right? No,
right.
that complete data is in the discharge summaries, which is in textual format. It's
Mhm.
like paragraphs, side headings, all this, and each discharge summary varies depending upon the doctors who are handling. So we have
Mhm.
data from 2014 to 2023, so it has various formats. So it is tough for us to extract the data and put it in Excel itself, but we achieved it. We have done almost 90%. We were able to extract the complete data and keep it in Excel. It was done. And the next stage we are going now.
And the other question of mine is that, have you ever tried using ChatGPT to make a structured format from the medical text, or just you are using your
No,
own NLP techniques?
no, Chan, we didn't try it. Maybe can you ping it here in the chat so that we can explore? That will be very useful for us in this moment.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. Can I reach out to you if I have any problem with my, conversions?
First, yeah, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Swetha, so I also have a question around the data that you mentioned as well. So
Mm.
you did so is the how your data is structured, is it unique to your breast cancer data, or is it a common thing for all databases in India right now? Or are we talking about
Actually, it
specifically yours? Yeah.
yes, yeah, no, it's not with ours. Most of the data which is resided in India is in PDF formats.
Okay.
So the main reason for that is we have followed a paper-based thing almost till 2021 maybe, but 2020. Once the COVID started, right, we realized what is the importance of digitalization. Then people started doing it. So few companies, like a few hospitals, which are like commercial hospitals, they already started digitalizing all this informations and all, but the medical universities are still bit in paper-based. So the challenge is with the complete India as of now, I can say it's not only with the data which we are dealing with.
Okay, then the adoption of EMR systems or EHR systems itself is very low in India. That's what you're trying to say, right?
It is low, but it started. The government is releasing regular. We have to adopt to HIS now. They've recently released in August 1st. They're making it mandatory to follow interoperability, and they have to follow EMR system. So it is moving towards that, and it's a very good time that we launched OHDSI India, and it's going to make a difference. And I can see a lot of people are interested now when we speak about OHDSI, but it will take some time. And the main thing is when we start doing one case study and when we start showing that to say this is what Indian data can do with even with the breast cancer data what we have, right, then people will obviously show interest is what our thought as well.
Excellent. Good to know. Good to know. Thanks.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah, Fook, please go ahead. Is it Jason? Fook, you're muted. Okay, maybe it was a mistake.
Yeah.
All right. If no further questions from the audience, I think we can go ahead with our next agenda in the list. Thank you, Swetha, for your presentation.
Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Maybe we will come up with the breast cancer updates very soon in the community call. Yeah.
We're very looking forward to hearing about it, Swetha. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Next, I'll hand over to Chungsoo, who'll give a recap of his experience at the European Symposium. So, Chungsoo, will you take the screen?
Yep, I share my screen now. So I think you guys can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi all. I'm sorry for missing the APAC symposium, but I'm happy to share my experience at the European symposium at this meeting. Yeah, it was my third in-person visit to European symposium, and the symposium was held at the SSO Chatham-ship and Erasmus Medical Center in the Netherlands. And the main symposium was at the ship, and the other events were at the Erasmus Medical Center. I think not exactly, but about 400 people attended this symposium, and the number of participants seemed to be growing every year. And the 3-day symposium was prepared, and the pre-symposium course like tutorials or working groups meeting were on the first and the second day, and the main symposium was on the last day. I attended the phenotyping workshop for 2 days. Patrick and Anna hosted this tutorial, and at the time we learned how to create phenotypes using the Atlas platform and thought about how to increase the sensitivity and specificity of these phenotypes. And also we could discuss with colleagues as team-based and present our cohort to everyone, and we could compare our cohort phenotype with another team with the same target code definition. So it was a really great experience because we can know about the different people's perspective on the defining a cohort. And on the second day, I also attended the oncology working group led by Aisha Goloja and Christian Lee. As we will talk about later, but oncology was the dominant medical topic at this symposium. So at this meeting, we discussed the current structure of the obsidian for including oncology information and how more information can be included and what types of information is not possible with the current structure of database. So many clinicians and people from the cancer research organization actively participated in this meeting. So we discussed this. They participate to discuss this meeting and share their experiences about the cancer information. And move on to the main symposium. In the main symposium, many EU-based cancer projects led by government or private were introduced. They cover specific domain of cancer. The Pioneer and Optima project funded by EU IMI cover solid cancers like prostate cancer, and Honor project led by Janssen covered hematologic cancer, and ㅍOHDSI project dealt with the layer cancer. All of them try to contain their cancer-specific data like cancer stage, score, or clinically impactful variable to the obsidian, and got some lessons and limitations of the OMOP structure. They shared what type of data was included in their database and then how they converted those specific data into the OMOP structure. And all speakers agreed that there is a need for a consensus for standardization of disease-specific data. Another key discussion was about how we can leverage multiple databases, more specifically about research platforms. They basically presented us with various approach within distributed research method. Pioneer Consortium had gone beyond the standardization and building infrastructure, and they had presented the results of their multi-center study through the studyathon. Actually, these results were published in the journal European Urology Journal a month after the symposium. Next was the rapid fire session. I saw various attempts other than cancer, research from the University of Hong Kong and Oxford teams looking at the long-term sequelae of COVID was really interesting. And I had previously worked on a CDM inspection study and thought that we had quite a bit of cost data in the CDM, but it was rarely used. So what was interesting to me personally was that I could hear about the cost effectiveness studies utilizing the CDM at this symposium. And the last session was a presentation on the Darwin EU project from the EMA. Darwin EU is a government-led real-world evidence generation platform for real clinical questions requested by regulatory agencies and committees. Erasmus MC served as coordinating center and included Oxford, OHDSI, and most European data partners. And there are currently 61 research topics, and each committee is preparing or conducting analysis on various topics. And for Darwin EU project, that started only a year or two ago, but European society are now expecting a lot from this project. I didn't just listen to the symposium, I also presented my team's infectious disease platform project in the poster session. Through this poster, I could meet with someone who is interested in and discuss about common difficulties dealing with the infectious disease specific data. So after the symposium, we could have a follow meeting with the University of Heidelberg in Germany, and we are looking for new collaborations. Yeah, perhaps most cool part of this European symposium is Peter's wonderful singing, and this time he and Patrick gave us a cool closing event in a duet. Afterward, I had dinner with a group of PhD students from the Erasmus MC, all of whom are in the same PhD year as me, and all are about to graduate. So I got to know most of them by doing the COVID study-a-thon 3 years ago. So I think wonderful friendship with this, even you are a PhD student, are the best part of this OHDSI community. In summary, OHDSI Europe was in-depth discussion in the cancer research with particular focus on the standardization of the cancer data and federated data infrastructure. And Darwin EU is an active government initiative to create a real-world evidence with many European data partners. In addition, there were meetings for national nodes in each European countries and SMEs, and the OHDSI European community hopes to activate them. So I was only person from the South Korea, but it was really very meaningful to attend this meeting, and I also learned a lot from them. Thank you.
All right, thanks Chungsoo for sharing your experience. I do want to comment on what you just said, right? Even though you are just a PhD student, I highly disagree, Chungsoo. Being a PhD student is not simple. We all know this. I think your participation in the community and your contribution is changing the OHDSI community. Not only yours, right? All the PhD students, not only the PhD, also all the other students in the community, right? Your participation what makes our community shine. And even in the APAC symposium, which Nicole is going to share soon, we had a lot of participation from the students as well. So please don't undermine yourself. Your contribution is highly valuable. Yeah. I'm gonna stop with my cheesy comments. Any questions to Chungsoo from the floor? Okay. Silence means good in general. Chungsoo, like, I don't think a lot of the people here had the privilege of going to the European Symposium, right? Because of the we were close to the APAC Symposium, and there are funding issues for a lot of organizations. So I think a representative from the APAC region, so not only you, but some of our friends from Hong Kong as well, were at the event. Thank you for representing APAC and sharing your experience here back to the community. So, all right, thanks Chungsoo for sharing. And now I'm going to hand over to Nicole, who will be giving her reflections of the APAC Symposium as the host of the event. We see your screen.
Okay.
Thanks, Nicole.
You see the screen? Yeah, all good. Fabulous. Let me just move that out the way. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for giving me this opportunity to go over, what was for me a really fabulous event for the APAC community. So we held the OHDSI APAC Symposium in Sydney about 1 month ago from now. It feels like such a long time ago, but there was lots of activity beforehand, and I've just been recovering. So hang on, I'm just trying to move my screen. Is it not working? Aha. Okay, so it was the APAC Symposium, a 2-day in-person event. We had a main conference on the first day, and the second day we had a series of tutorials as well as an oncology work group breakout discussion. So hopefully somebody might be online that can give some insights into that work group discussion. I was attending the tutorial, so but it was great to have that group be able to get together again and really keep up the momentum that we just heard Chungsoo talk about from the European Symposium in the oncology space. So we had 110 attendees, 60% of them were from Australia, but 40% were international. And we had good representation from all of the APAC sites, so Korea, Taiwan, Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, and China. And we also had some from outside of APAC as well, so US obviously and the UK, and one participant, maybe 2 participants from Sweden, which was great as well. Our participants were diverse. We had academics and clinicians and not-for-profit people as well, for companies as well, but also a consumer. And this was one of the key things that I'll talk about that came out of the APAC Symposium, is the real need to engage with consumers and the people who are actually at the coalface of healthcare. And we really need to kind of drive some of our research to really serve the needs of that particular group of individuals. We had lots of different symposium sessions, 8 different sessions with 30 speakers, and lots of different presentations, lightning talks and panel discussions and tutorials and so on. We had 21 posters as well, which was great to see, all out in the lunchroom. So everybody sharing the research they've done over the APAC community. We had a great APAC steering committee that made this all happen. So I really want to shout out and thank everybody, Mui and Song and Jing and Catherine, everybody who helped make this day possible. And of course, if you haven't already heard, there was also AI generated beer that happened. So I'll tell you a bit about that later. So sponsors, I just really want to thank the sponsors who made this happen as well. So University of South Australia, which is where I work, University of New South Wales, who hosted us, the Medicines Intelligence Centre of Research Excellence, who really helped pull this together as well. The ARDC, which is an Australian Research Data Commons, they provided the funding for the tutorial session, and IQVIA, who also helped sponsor the lightning talk presentations or presenters. So thank you everybody for that kind, sponsorship. Okay, so basically the symposium was talking about how we actually generate real world evidence, and we really placed that generation in the sense of creating a recipe and using ingredients, and how do we get from those raw ingredients to consumable quality evidence that people want to actually use and want to consume. So we talked about what the ingredients were, needing high quality data, but we also talked about the steps to creating and generating that evidence. So, collaboration, standardization, innovation, and reporting all outcomes, and of course, how that all comes together to help patients and, decision makers actually consume the evidence that we are generated. And this really helps us to actually get that evidence into practice and solve the mission of OHDSI, which is to improve healthcare. So our first session was by Patrick Ryan, and if you've heard Patrick Ryan talk, you know that this was a really engaging presentation about how we go from that patient level data into reliable evidence and the journey that we take and the steps we take in the process. So we went through the process and we talked about data, we talked about data standards and vocabularies and methods and open source development and so on, and the whole recipe that we have to go from evidence to data to evidence. But what we also, Patrick also talked about was the fact that we now have this available to us. So what would we actually do with it? How are we going to actually develop clinical applications? So we asked the question, if we had this open community, if we have open data standards, if we have established and evaluated best practices and a suite of tools that help us analyze all that data, what would we do? What are the clinical applications that are really important for us to collaborate on as a community? So the next session was Azier, and she actually took up that challenge and had to think about what OHDSI has been doing in terms of clinical applications and what clinical decisions need to happen. So she reviewed what OHDSI has actually done, where we're at right at the moment, and looked at all the publications that OHDSI has out there. And you can see from this slide in her talk, most of it is in infrastructure and methods. There's some characterization driven largely by the COVID characterization work. There's a bit of population level estimation, but really when she looked into that, the majority were looking at safety of medicines in big diseases like hypertension, diabetes, and COVID-19. When she drilled down further into what are the actual drug disease pairs that have been looked at for OHDSI, she found that they're fairly narrow on their focus. So a lot of blockbuster prescription medicines and in common chronic diseases. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. All of this evidence is required. However, when she looked at what regulators, health technology assessment, clinicians and patients actually want, it covers a bigger diversity of areas. So she really posed the challenge, what do we need to do to expand our research into those areas that all of these different consumers of our evidence want, evidence about? So she talked about increasing the segment, so looking at different end user groups, so patients, clinicians, regulators, and actually understanding what they need. And then expanding our use cases, so different, looking at different disease epidemiology, effectiveness, safety, and so on. So different ways of looking at data. And then also expanding the therapeutic areas. So we talked a lot about cancer, but how do we sort of expand our work into maybe rare diseases or other diseases that have not been covered much to date? So she was trying to answer that question from Patrick, what would we do if we have the opportunity to do it? So session 2 actually presented from Jack, presented the results of the fluoroquinolone study. And that is exactly, one of the questions that regulators need to know. So we have a question, and now we're going to use the OHDSI framework to answer that question for that user group. So Jack talked about how do we create data, but also actually build trust in that data so that it can be used to improve healthcare. So it's not just about generating the evidence, it's about generating evidence that is trustworthy and can be used in decision making. So he talked about Sisyphus and how Sisyphus is trying to push this boulder up a hill, and at each point, if the diagnostics fail, then we stop pushing that boulder up the hill and we don't present that result, and that sort of works towards trust. So we're not publishing results that we don't trust. We only publish those results we do. So to kind of explain how we build trust, we asked the audience questions about how confident they were that fluoroquinolones cause aortic aneurysm or dissection, which was the question we were trying to answer. And what we did is we presented the results that the regulators had in front of them when they had to make the decision about whether or not to, make an action and make a regulatory action at the time. and we showed the results. There were 5 different observational studies that had 5 different analytical approaches and slightly, different results across them all. And we said, well, how confident are you that you can trust that piece of evidence? And we did an online survey, and here are the results. So basically, no one was really confident. We've got results all over the place. So 50-50, no one was really confident that the prior evidence was reliable and can be trusted. And that's really important because that's what the regulators had in front of them at the time. So then we went through and we asked them, well, how confident are you that fluoroquinolones cause, how confident are you that this result is true? And again, we got a 50-50%, nice normal distribution with 50-50%. Then we showed one of our results, so one database, and there was still tremendous uncertainty. So what's in quotes here is what Patrick actually said when we presented these results. And this is important because, 95% of studies that we actually read from the literature are exactly these results: one database, one person, and one result. So we really don't have a lot of confidence in those results. Then we presented 2 of our databases from the Sisyphus challenge, and you can see that confidence has now started to shift. So we have 2 databases, and we're now starting to get a little bit more confident that we have a valid result. Then we presented the meta-analysis, so the results over all of the databases who contributed to the SOS challenge. And then we had this substantial shift, and our evidence was collectively showing a consistent evidence of no effect. So we now have the room was saying, yeah, we're pretty confident that the fluoroquinolones don't cause this outcome. What was really important then is that we showed the diagnostics, so the study diagnostics, and we went through all of the diagnostics that we have in play for us in the OHDSI community to say how confident we are with the results we presented. So we did all of that, and we asked the same question again, but we really didn't see a shift in confidence. And I think that's a really important result because we, as a community, we know that we present results that are reliable, and the diagnostics just really enforce that, but it doesn't really change how confident we were in the results we presented. So then we asked the question again about how confident we are that the results that we present can be reliable and trusted. And you can see that we had a very big shift towards being really confident that what we do as a community can be trusted. So then we asked all the different stakeholders, well, how much do they trust these results? And what can we do to answer the questions that matter to them? And how can we build further trust in those results? And one of the key outcomes, I think, of this panel discussion was that we really have to do a better job as a community in translating our knowledge to our different stakeholders. And what came out of that was that we proposed a new OHDSI work group around knowledge translation to really try to help us as a community get our messages and get our evidence translated to the different stakeholders, and in ways that they can understand, particularly the consumer group. Then, of course, after all that talk about food and menus and recipes, it was lunchtime, and Mui and Morning took the collaborator showcase walk, and we went around and talked to the poster presenters about their research, and that was a lot of fun. And Mui and Morning got dressed up and really engaged the crowd, so it was a great opportunity to showcase the research. Session 3 was now really about 2 different priorities in OHDSI about how we get that evidence at the coalface and how we can use this to improve patient care. So Graham Grieve talked to us about fire to OMOP and talked about where things are at the moment with fire and how the usefulness of fire, the usefulness of OMOP, and how those 2 systems can work together to really sort of enhance the use of patient data for healthcare. What Graham wanted me to really highlight to everyone is that there's a lot of engagement happening between OMOP and FIRE, and there's a couple of different opportunities to get involved in this. So there's going to be a session at the Global Symposium, a full day workshop on October 22nd. So if you guys are interested in that, jump on and register. And there's also ongoing work groups that you can either attend or just watch the recordings because they're not really in our time zone. So all of those links there will take you to all of those engagement opportunities. So next we had another panel discussion all around the oncology space, and Chungsoo Kim just talked about what's been happening with cancer, and we had a great presentation from Kim and Azia and Georgina, who talked about where things are at with the oncology work group. They also presented this really beautiful graph, which really shows, I think that wins the graph of the day. I think it's beautiful, and it shows how, you know, complex the cancer care pathway is, and how this group is really working to standardize that and really get information out of data for the cancer journey. So if you haven't seen this result, go and have a look, because I think it has a lot of applications for other disease areas in healthcare, not just cancer. There's a lot of different conditions that have similar, you know, problems that we will be able to solve using this work by the oncology work group. So fabulous work that they've done. Next, I'm running out of time, so I'll just quickly go through this. So next was the session 4, which is a smorgasbord of health data insights from across the APAC region. So we had lots of different presentations from each of the chapters across the APAC, talking about different states of progress that they're at in their country. So we had some countries talk about where they're at with their data transformation, about how they can use that for some sort of clinical use cases, and then we also saw some results from actual clinical applications in different countries. So that was a great smorgasbord across the whole pathway of OHDSI. Next, we had a panel discussion across the APAC region and talked a lot about what each of the chapters were doing and what we need to do to work together to really now, you know, enhance the generation of evidence. So, you know, we have the ingredients, now we just need to get on and generate that clinical evidence that's needed. And last was the closing session, and there's always something fun that happens in OHDSI in the closing session, and Patrick and I created beer. So we took the analogy between the creation of beer and how we create real world evidence. So we talked about how, you know, the ingredients in beer, we have ingredients, we have data, we have the process of, you know, brewing evidence, and then we have a consumable product at the end. So there was a big long speech that we actually generated through ChatGPT. Given we were generating AI beer, we thought we'd generate our talk as well. So you'll be able to look at that in the video when it becomes available. So I'm just going to flick through all of this and show you the beer that we created. You know, our ingredients, our data, our craft is science, and our brew is evidence. So I think that really encapsulates our mission in OHDSI. And here's, you know, a picture of all of the people who were involved in day one. You can see everybody was happy and drinking their beer mostly, and so we had a great session at the end, just, you know, networking and getting to know each other and drinking our OHDSI beer. So I'll leave it there. Thank you, and thanks everybody for joining, and we will have a video available for both day 1 and day 2. I think I've got here, which was sponsored by the ARDC in Australia, so we'll get links out to the full day video as soon as they're ready. So
Thanks, Nicole. So guys, Nicole actually gave a very thorough walkthrough through the entire symposium. So Chungsoo, I think Nicole's summary in a nutshell right now basically summarizes all the key points that were at the symposium, also the key surprises at the symposium. So I would not say you missed out on a lot, because you did miss out on a lot, but still you've got most of the highlights from Nicole's presentation just now. So since we have like 8 minutes left, I won't take questions from the audience, but I'm sure Nicole will be happy to take any questions separately if you reach out to her. So I'm gonna hand it over to Sujeong.
Before you do, sorry, Son, before you do, I just want to say a big thank you. I know Nicole thanked everybody else, but we should thank Nicole, right? We should thank Nicole. We should thank the team behind Nicole, like Catherine, for the amazing, amazing job they put together for that symposium. So thank you, Nicole and team.
Thanks, Noe. Thanks, Catherine.
Thanks, Song.
Me? I didn't do anything. Come on. All right. Thanks, everybody. It was a great team effort making this happen. So, Sujeong, yeah, right on time. Please take the screen, and we would like to hear your experience, or should I say your photos from the symposium.
You can hear my voice, right? Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Sujeong from Chan's Lab in Yonsei University in Korea. This is my first time speaking in the community call, so my heart is pounding so fast right now. I'll just quickly go through my experience in the OHDSI APAC 2023. It was my second time in the APAC symposium. It was held in Sydney, UNSW, as Nicole said. It was my first time in Australia, and it was very good. And at first, we got some snacks, really nice snacks, and it was really good. And you can see my name card. Nicole started the welcome session, and I was really surprised that the introduction and the ending speech was all made by the LLM, the AI machine. It was really good. And day one, we had various sessions, but I just brought several pictures from the keynote speech and research study, presentation, and panel discussion. It was a great chance to just go through the overall steps of the observation study in OHDSI community, and to actually see the actual evidence coming out from the data, the real world evidence, and I could experience I could see the results from the SOS challenge about the fluoroquinolone and the aortic dissection and aneurysm. And it was very good to hear about all the other stakeholders and various people's opinions about the journey, and it was a great chance. And we had the poster presentation. I also did the poster presentation, and maybe next time I'll be more active to appeal my poster at the symposium. And as you saw, Morning was wearing those like Batman sunglasses or the mask, and it was really fun. And after the all sessions and on the day first, we had the networking session, which I really, really liked it because it was a great chance for especially a person like me, a student. I had the chance to meet so many people from hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, and also like other students from various countries in APAC region. So I really enjoyed this time, and you can see how my face is red with the alcohol. And the UNSW campus was really beautiful. And I also participated in the day 2 tutorials. We actually was able to see the process of dataset ETL and mapping processes, and also using the OHDSI tools of Atlas. And it was a great chance to actually see the process, especially the ETL process I couldn't experience. And so I learned a lot from these tutorials. And furthermore, I had the fabulous lunch at the symposium, especially on the day 2. I really liked the food. So like all of our members were saying that we were going to make this and have this in Korea too. These are pictures of my members from our lab in Korea, and also the picture of us with Nicole, the host. As I said, I really enjoyed the campus in Australia. I was so surprised by how good the campus was, and as it was the winter season, the sunsets were marvelous. And I kept saying that I really want to come to this school to study more. And throughout the symposium, everybody were doing the Korean hearts. They say that I didn't know it was made in Korea, but they say it's Korean hearts, and it was really cute. And I heard that the next symposium will be held in Singapore. And of course, we cannot forget the OHDSI APA. It was a marvelous surprise at the end of the symposium, and I really enjoyed it. The beer and the speech of Nicole. So this was my second symposium, and as I did in Taiwan, I also enjoyed so much in Australia, and it was a great chance to talk and learn about the observation study and OMOP-CDM. And thank you so much for giving me the chance to do the recap, and thank you so much for hosting in Australia, Nicole. Thank you.
Thanks, Sujeong, for your presentation. I hope you didn't rush it. I think all your photos are really great because, sometimes photos are all over the place. And when we have calls like this, we actually get to see these, side photos where people didn't know that they're being, photographed, right? So as I think I saw a hand in the audience. Yunjae, was that a mistake? Oh, okay. I guess it's down now. Any questions for Sujeong and Nicole? Since we have 2 minutes, we'll open up the floor. Okay, no questions. So yeah, so also from my end, right, Nicole, Sujeong, and everybody else here as well. So I also did a recap of my experience to my colleagues here at IQVIA. They were all very envious of the stuff that we did, and they were pretty shocked about how AI is penetrating our lives, right? So I explained to them how Nicole's speech was generated purely by AI. All the images that accompanied her speech was also generated by AI. The OHDSI logo from that Nicole generated for the event, right? The OHDSI Australia logo was also generated by AI as well, right? So these small but pretty impactful changes AI is making to our lives is, I think, pretty interesting. And also the knowledge translation work group that Nicole, you mentioned, also is I guess one of the biggest takeaways from for us as a APAC community, and also the OHDSI community as a whole. So thanks a lot, Nicole, again, for the wonderful experience that we had, that you gave to us. And I don't know if Morning is in the call, but we look forward to meeting everybody at Singapore. So the Singapore, the APAC Symposium in Singapore will take place around probably around early December, right before the Christmas holidays and after the Thanksgiving holidays in the United States. So hope to see you guys there. Right. Thanks everybody for joining. We're right on time. And see you in a month's time. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Thanks all. Bye bye.